Welcome to a brand new week. So-La-Rah here. Thank you for being here. I want to extend a very happy Mother's Day to those of you who celebrated yesterday. Thank you to those of you who sent your kind Mother's Day sentiments to me also. We actually celebrated Mother's Day here in the UK in March, but you know, I'm grateful for you still reaching out to me, and I hope all of you who are mamas were thoroughly spoiled. Yes. Thank you to those of you who have purchased my spiritual bathing manual. Thank you to those of you who've even reached out to just congratulate me or to spread your cheer and your excitement and your encouragement for my expansion. I thank you so much even for that. To the haters, thank you too. I'm going to probably do predominantly a reading today. I don't have new notes, but it was really interesting. I was doing some cleaning and I came across a notebook that my guides kept on telling me to look into. And I haven't gone into this notebook for a few weeks and a few months even. And the first page it opened up on is what they wanted me to focus on. So I'm going to get into a little bit of the energies that are coming up here. There were some notes I was taking about some energies that had come up a few months ago, but it feels like energy has a way of coming around full circle. So sometimes when you're picking up on something, for example, you're picking up at the beginning of the cycle and now it's coming to the closing of it, meaning that you're picking up on the energy when it's first becoming real in the mental planes, and now it's gone through the emotional planes and all of that, and it's about to become physical. So I'm gonna get into that too. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Thank you if you are a returning subscriber. Thank you if you've been here from the beginning. Thank you to those of you who've come along, you know, in the duration of the channel growing. Thank you to those of you who are new. Welcome. If this is your first time here, please say hi in the comments below. And what else? Yes, if you have been brought here because of the title, there's likely a message here for you. So I invite you to stick around if you'd like to. And if you find that my resonance, my frequency is in alignment with where you are on your journey, then I invite you to do the YouTube thing. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment below. Yes. Thank you to those of you who have donated to the channel, donated to my work, given me gratitude donations. I appreciate all of that. Thank you to the kind person who donated a deck over the weekend. I love it. I can't wait to start using it on the channel. I've been waiting for this one for a really long time. So thank you. What else? Is that it? I think that's it before I can get into it. The energies are shifting, guys. The energies are shifting. I'm sure over the weekend, y'all, experienced your fair share of fuckery, because it was definitely in the atmosphere. And as you know, oh, that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to apologize for the tracking on the video on Friday, but at the same time, I can't get upset about it because it further emphasized the point of what I was saying at the beginning of the video before the tracking went off, and that is that there have been a lot of attacks against the throat, a lot of attacks against people being able to speak out, come into alignment with their truth, etc., etc. And the throat energy is all connected to communication, obviously, and to some extent technology. So it's no surprise, and if anything, it's really interesting because it shows that their spells can't be hidden anymore. You see, once upon a time, the spells were hidden. Like, that stuff would happen. I would be up in arms because I didn't realize, and it would be the culmination of so many energies that had been designed to put me off kilter. I'm sure many of you can relate to this. So now when it happens, it's just confirmation of what it is I already know. And it shows me where I need to do extra clearing work. It shows me what's going on in the collective. So I'm grateful for it because it shows me exactly what the fuck is going on, because I'm no longer in a state of falling into fear. I'm just observing. So yes, the energies though, that aside, are changing. they're changing. And as we move into this new moon in Taurus coming up at the end of the week on Friday, May the 19th, which another thing I was recognizing is that my guide's been speaking to me a lot about this full moon in Taurus eclipse energy that occurred at the end of 2021 in November, because the full moon at that time was Taurus 27 degrees. And now we're coming to the end of our travel through the North Node in Taurus, and we are wrapping up with a new moon in Taurus that is also hitting very close at the 28 degree mark. And I realized that that moon occurred on November 19th, and this new moon is occurring also on May 19th. So I feel like there's more of a connection there even than, I was picking up on before. And that 19 number, those of you will know that is connected to the Sun card in the tarot. And the Sun card, for me as a reader, that number 19 energy is all about having traveled home to your truth, having recovered your truth, your power, your light, your solar codes, your ability to live divinely on earth as you already are in the heavens. And it comes towards the end of the major arcana. So once you reach the Sun card, you kind of like arrived almost in your North Node. That's kind of what it is. There's always still growing and clearing and learning to do. But the learning can shift. There doesn't have to be so much learning from states of suffering because of self-betrayal and self-rejection. You can now learn through more joyful experiences. And so I say all of that because that is the energy that many people are about to be shifting into. And that is completely dependent upon whether you've done the work to clear out all of the densities that keep you from shining. Okay. The 19 comes, and then judgment comes to bring perfect balance into the ability now for you to express and live in your light. And then the world comes, which is a complete wrap up to start again in the context of living in the power of your sun, of your soul. Returning, it's the recovered pieces. It's when all of your fragments from across time, space, reality, dimensions, incarnations come back together and you're whole again. Your soul is whole. You're the fullness of your light. You're the fullness of the sun. Okay, so many people are about to see grand shifts occur in their own realities because of their ability to shift these densities and therefore recover their light and their truth and no longer live in denial and self-betrayal and self-rejection in order to move forward in light and truth and to no longer have to learn lessons therefore by suffering. Okay? And this new moon, it feels like it's getting ready to be a grand shift, but what my guides actually want me to talk about today regarding that also is that when great light comes in, like solar flare activity also, when great light comes in, what it does is it also dismantles and exposes all that's been hidden in the shadows within and within the context, on a personal level, but also within the context of the collective, the world, etc. So what we're seeing here, what's about to happen again, and you might already be experiencing it and feeling it already, and you've been experiencing it and feeling it for a while likely, but it's more, it's growing in intensity, is that this grand entrance of more light or solar energy is actually going to highlight, you could say, or exacerbate that which has been trying to hide. And when that occurs, again, it occurs within and it occurs without. And our job as divine beings walking in our North Node in alignment with our truth is to be extremely vigilant and discerning of when it comes up within so that we can clear, alchemize, and then integrate that density into our sunlight, into the light of our soul. The darkness is there to guide you too, just in a different way. But it must all be integrated for you to walk in the fullness of that energy, the sun, the 19 card of the tarot. And so this is about to be, what we're stepping into right now is about to be It's not a test so much as it is a revelation. Every time there's an increase in the solar energies, it brings in more revelation. And that's what it is. And if you know about the book of Revelation in the Bible, it's the last book of the Bible that speaks about this great, coming of like dawn of a new age. So in the Bible, it speaks specifically about the coming back of Jesus, which is really about the resurrection of your Christed energy within, right? So it's about the coming back of Jesus, the rising of your Christed energy, the reclamation of your solar energy, the return of the sun. That's what it's about, right? But when that happens, everything that has been preventing that is revealed. The book of Revelation. And it's revealed so it can be dealt with, so we can move forward. And I say all of that because what we're about to see in the spiritual community is we're about to see a separation of the wheat from the chaff. You see, many people like to think that story of the separation of the wheat and the chaff, when they apply it, they like to think of it as being, it's about those who are not, walking in their divinity versus those that are divine. That's not true. The Bible was a book for believers. So therefore, that story, every story in the book is for those who are believing themselves to be divine in order for them to walk deeper in divine alignment, to stay divine. Because divinity is a choice. We have free will. So we are told many are called and few are chosen. The chosen ones, and this is where what you're about to see unravel. A chosen one is not chosen just because they've been given that label and that title from birth. Yes, to some extent they are, but they still have to make the choice at every turn to wear the crown in dignity and in sincerity and in alignment with divine truth and power. Many people have been, swimming through this ascension thinking that because they have the title of, they think they're chosen ones, that they don't have to do work, that they're somehow entitled. And these ones are actually still swimming in energies of narcissism, and for the most part, they're unaware. There's about to be an awakening in the energy specifically of those who call themselves divine versus those who are actually living divinely and in divinity, because it can't be faked and because it's time. And as I've said before in other readings, there's that statement that judgment comes first to the house of the Lord, right? If we are here to lead people by our example into a new earth and a new reality, then we better be in alignment. We're the first ones who are going to be in alignment. That's why I sometimes chuckle at some of these readings that come out that inflate people's ego around leadership and being highly ranked, as if, there's not a high penalty to be paid for that too, as if you're not held to a higher standard by the divine, as if you're not sooner chastened or you have a greater responsibility once you've been given more rank, right? All of this is about to be dealt with and sorted out. And with this new moon in Taurus, like I've said, over many readings, the Taurus energy is connected to your value. In classical or Western astrology, Taurus is over the second house. It's over your money. For me, how I've learned, how my guides taught me, it's all about your self-value. It's about your energy field, and everything that has been given you, everything that you came into this incarnation with, in order to grow in that value, so you could then give that value out to the world and even receive more value back for the value you give. That's the point of the Taurus energy. It's why it works with Scorpio, which is about the collective value, what you give and how it affects the collective and how it then grows you too. We're supposed to grow one another and then grow more, so we can then again help to grow one. That's how the energy exchange is supposed to work. And people who don't want to get on board with that and call themselves divine are about to go on another journey around the wheel in order to learn that lesson, because we're not having a repeat of what happened in Atlantis. So right now, a lot of us are being challenged in that area because we must learn how to not only walk in our divinity, but we must learn how to treat others in the correct standard of divinity that is befitting of a new earth and a new world. Otherwise, what did we do this for? To run around and say we're divine? So now it's about to get really interesting, and we're going to see who was really in it to call themselves chosen and who actually is ready to get on the ground and do the work. Because the work of fighting off these dark energies was just the beginning. The fighting off the dark energies was to get here so now we can build. But the building that occurs with us together, it's a whole different level of warfare. And the war is only won by those who are able to tune into the truth of their own value, Taurus energy again, walk in their own value, Taurus energy again, and honor the value in every living thing. I'm going to say that again. Honor the value in every living thing. That means it doesn't matter if that energy, you think of it as being divine, or you think of it as being below you, or you think of it as being, like lower vibrational energies. Do you respect the purpose that it serves? Because that's its value. It has value. Whether or not it's living, even if it's not living in alignment, if it's not living obediently, it still has value. It's there to help you alchemize. It's there to help you move forward. It has a reason. It has a purpose. Otherwise, it wouldn't be here. You get what I'm saying? So our value system right now, how we value ourselves, how we value others, how we celebrate ourselves, how we celebrate others, it's all coming up right now. And as that comes up, because we're about to see many people who've done the work move forward. And that should be a beautiful thing for most people to say, oh, to celebrate. Okay, now that this person's moving forward, or now that we see forward traction, it means that we're all moving forward. But if when you see somebody moving forward, it triggers you and brings up crap in your heart, that's density that needs to be cleared in order for you to move forward too. And this is how it's coming up right now. And I'll tell you why it's coming up, how my guides have shown me. Because so many divine beings, especially people who've been in these abusive, narcissistic narratives where they constantly were trying to dim and steal your light, a lot of you had a lot of jealousy and envy spells cast against you. A lot of jealousy and envy programming drilled into you to make you feel as if you constantly were in lack or like you were less than, or to have you stuck in a poverty mindset. Remember, Taurus season also, 5 of Pentacles energy, that's the 0 to 10 degrees energy of Taurus. It deals. That Taurus energy really begins to deal with our own lack consciousness and our poverty mindsets. Hence the reason why so many of you, so many of us have had to go through certain things since the equinox, since the end of Aries season, since this new astrological year began, in order to alchemize these wounds so we really can move forward in our power. Because when you're walking in your divinity, you know that you lack for nothing. Right? But everything about the programming wanted to make you feel like you were lacking. And not only that, the matrix system, the family systems, the schooling systems, the social systems, the work environment, the media, it was all designed to make you constantly feel less than and to constantly compare yourself to the next person. Right? To look into their yard and see what it is that they had, or to compare your life and use where someone else is as a barometer for whether you're doing well or not. All of that must go out of the window. And many of us have dealt with the more obvious energies that surround that. But now it's time to deal with the nitty-gritty, because there will be no moving forward and hurting one another because we refuse to deal with our own wounds. And this is where and why when I say the wheat and the chaff are about to be separated, because the real work is actually only just beginning. The warfare was just breaking through to now get to the real work of setting new foundations and creating new energies and building from that place. And if we are to do that, then we must become completely new in our minds. That's what the Bible's talking about when it says, be ye renewed in your mind. We need to renew our minds in order to come into full alignment, not only with our divinity, but others too. So we're about to see where we still need to do work around our own sense of value, because here's the truth. When we're truly walking in the fullness and the wholeness of our own value and our own divinity, like I said, there is no lack consciousness. So therefore, there is no comparison. There is no looking at another person. There is no wanting another person's downfall or not being happy when somebody else is moving forward. And I bring it up because I'm feeling that energy. I felt it even in the live chat on Friday in some areas. I won't go into it now. Let it be known that now, the more you want to call yourself a divine, the more you must walk in alignment with that divinity in all things. It's not just a label. And those who want to walk in it as if it's just a label are those who are going to have to go back around and learn new lessons until they come into alignment with respecting other people's divinity and paths too. This is where we are. And this is what this new moon in Taurus is also heralding and bringing in. The new world value system, the new world financial system, which is based upon your own sense of value. If you value yourself, you naturally value others. You value the earth that sustains you. The more you're able to value yourself and value others and value the earth and therefore bring value to the world, the more your own value increases. That's actually naturally how energy is supposed to work, like I said in the beginning. The Taurus energy is about your own personal value that you've been given in order to share with the world and the collective, that will therefore grow more of your value. You get more value to then give back again. That's the point. That's the point. So, a lot of this, because this is where we are, a lot of energies are being projected towards divine beings to make them fall into lack, so that they fall back into that place of comparison. A lot of entities are being thrown to see if they can connect to the wounds of divine beings, so they can then be used to attack another divine being. I saw it occur even in the chat on Friday. I saw it. And I couldn't unsee what I saw. Okay? So be aware. Be aware. And the only way you can be aware is if you are, like I've said, especially in the past 2 weeks, like extremely vigilant with your own woundings that you're still working on, because we all have them. I have them. We all have them. It's not that we're supposed to be perfect and without wounds and without triggers. It's that we're supposed to be aware of them so they can't be exploited and used against us and others. This is the point. The people who are not going to be, progressing very quickly into the next cycle right now are not the ones who, it's not because they're so wounded and blah, blah. It's not that. It's the ones who are in denial and refuse to see certain aspects of themselves that they must see and they must apply love to, and they must accept in order to grow and to come into the fullness of their value so that they can reap the rewards of that. That's the point. The whole point of this is that the divine wants you so sure of your own value that it becomes a reality. It has no choice but to become a reality. And that's where we are right now. As we move into this new moon in Taurus, have you decided what your worth is? Have you decided what your value is? And are you living it? Because, like I said, the energy will not lie. This is where we're moving right now. You see, once upon a time, they could cloak, because energy has never lied. Let's get it very real here. But the point is, now that you're recovering your own energy, what are you doing with it? Because once upon a time, the reason why our lives were in shambles was because we didn't know anything about energy, and because we were constantly being manipulated and taken from and spell cast against, right? In order for our energy to serve the purpose that another person wanted, right? But now what's happening is we're getting it all back. So are we learning now how to overcome still the pitfalls and all of our own wounding, so we can maximize the fullness of our energy, so that we can begin to create the reality that we want based upon our internal truth? Our internal truth. This is what's about to be projected to the world, is your internal truth. I hope you're following me when I say this. I hope it makes sense. So when I found this notebook, there were a few things that were coming up. For one thing, some of you might want to do a money cleanse. You might want to do a money cleanse. Okay, sorry. Yeah, you might want to do some money cleansing work, some road opening work, some uncrossing work. Okay, with this new moon in Taurus energy, some of you might want to do return to sender. That really depends, 1633 on my clock, where you sit in your opinion about return to sender work at this juncture of the journey. And I say that because everyone is going to be in different places, and we all have to go through certain lessons in order to come back up. And I say this because I've had people come to me and talk to me and ask me about return to sender. I can only tell you what I believe and what I know and what my guides have shown me, okay? At certain junctures on your path, when you first wake up, and you're being onslaught by energies that aren't your own, in order to come out of it, return to sender work becomes imperative, in my opinion, because you must begin to have a clear mark of delineation of where you begin and where other people shit begins, okay? Now, at a certain point, you may have recovered your energy, but you may be in a really combative, malicious fight to hold on to you. And in that case, when people are continually sending projections, I say do return to sender work, but I say do it, always do return to sender love, return to sender work in love. In other words, you return the energies to them in peace, in love, and in forgiveness. You know, and if you're not there with the forgiveness, don't fake it. Just send it back to them in peace and say, this is not my energy. I will not entertain it. I choose not to transmute it. I've transmuted it for you enough at this point. This is for you now to figure out for yourself respectfully. I return what is yours, and I hold on to what is mine, and I call back from you anything that is mine, and I return to you anything I may have inadvertently or unconsciously or even consciously taken. It's about taking full responsibility for, that's what return to sender is really supposed to be about. This is why I don't like it when I hear readers saying, I return to sender to the power of infinity or a billion. It's just like, but how do you know that's what's going to bring the energy back into balance to 0 point? That's where sometimes we have to work with our guides also and be like, I'm returning to sender in peace, and I ask you to just have this balanced out, you know, balance it out. Because that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to get back to 0 point so we can have a foundation to build upon again, whereby everyone will be taking responsibility and none of this will be necessary. You know, that's how I feel about it. You can disagree with me, but that's how I've always felt about it, okay? So for some of you, money cleanse, road opening, uncrossing, return to sender work is going to be important. There is a message here about upping your nighttime and your morning protection. And if not upping it, just changing it around a bit. And if any of you are in this state of procrastination, you need to know that that's not you. There's a lot of imposter syndrome energy that's being casted and projected upon divines right now. So that's a projection, and you need to clear it, you know, and there's a myriad of ways of clearing energy. But know that if you feel like you're under that onslaught of procrastination, you can't move forward and do what it is that you feel like you're supposed to, the energy should be facilitating your moving forward at this point, no matter where you are on the journey. And if you're feeling like a lot of resistance, then that's indicative of clearing work that needs to occur, right? There's some kind of definitive end to a bloodline, a lineage, or a dynasty, because there has been a death of their ancestral entities. And there's something about this new moon that's going to begin ushering that energy into real time. This is a time also where in the lead up to this new moon, you might want to do some cord cutting work, and calling back all your power. Okay. And when I say cord cutting, I'm speaking about cords that bind you to people toxically or because of spell casting. Okay. I have full chakra clearance and rebalancing. You might want to. There's a lot of activations coming in to upgrade our chakra systems, and in that sense, you might want to really be focused this week on doing work with your pillar of light because of that, okay? Heart chakra upgrades coming in to make you more ready to be in a receiving mode, especially with this new moon in Taurus energy. Many of you are accessing this abundance mindset has been accessed, meaning you've broken the mastery of lack consciousness and poverty mindset. You've broken the spell of that once upon a time had over you, and you're now able to. What it means is now you're now able to recognize those energies of lack and poverty when they come into your fields, in order to tear you down, or to get you to compare, or to get you to project nasty energy towards another person. You are recognizing that before you move into the action of that, and you're alchemizing it. Okay, that doesn't mean that those times don't come, but it means that you now recognize them easily. You're not in denial of who you are, what you've been through, and therefore the programs you were under, and therefore the narratives it created that you're still needing to clear, and the wounds around that. You're under no illusion with that anymore. And so when it comes up, you're able to recognize it in yourself, you're able to protect yourself, and you're able to protect other divine beings. And this is really important, because many of us are coming into union, coming into like opportunities with other divine partners and divine co-creators. And if we don't learn how to protect ourselves, and therefore then extend that protection to one another, then we are moving into territory where we will tear down the very thing that we've been gifted with. And this is why this message is so, my guides have been on me about delivering it, okay? Some of you are being asked to really delve into what the anatomy of a psychic attack is. The anatomy of it, okay? How it works, how the energy moves. And, I'll go into it a little bit, but I will say this, that a psychic attack, a spell being cast, all of that stuff, the way it affects you is going to be in response to your supposed area of weakness. And that area of weakness, again, quote unquote, are those blind spots, those areas where you're not seeing truth. And it can go either way. It can be you're not seeing the truth of how powerful you are, or you're not seeing the truth of how you need to release something that's toxic. And really, it's always not seeing the truth of how powerful you are, because if you knew how powerful you were, you would gladly release the toxicity. And if you knew how powerful you are, you would gladly accept, that mantle of truth without ego. You get what I'm saying? Without, and when I say without ego, you need your ego, but without the need to use it for self, aggrandization. It just is what it is, if that makes sense. So the anatomy of a psychic attack, like where and how have energies been trying to get to you? How have you fallen prey to some of these things? Where do you still need to do work on how these energies attack? Because especially with these attacks that they send out, a lot of the energy they're using is chaos energy. And chaos magic and chaos energy, the way it works is that when they send it out, it just attaches to anything it can in order to gain momentum and therefore attach itself in your reality. So this is why, as divine beings, our job is to clear our fields consistently and constantly, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, so that there's no longer anything to attach to. So when I'm talking to you about us dealing with our woundedness and not being in denial about some of those tiny things that we think we kind of can get over, it's not because we're bad people. Those wounds are there because of the programs of the matrix. It's not even you. It's not even me. But the point is, this is the food. That is the food that the spell wants to connect to, attach to, eat in order to grow. This is why we must clear these energies so that there's nothing that can attach to us anymore that's going to take us or other divine beings down. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to clear the energy a little bit. Because I feel the resistance already in not only delivering this message, but in the receiving of it. But I'm not here. I'm here to help build a new world. I'm not here to 1644 on the clock. I'm not here to sugarcoat certain things. Like, I'll be real with you guys. I mean, that's the truth. And if I trigger you. This is my suggestion to anyone who's triggered by anyone who they're watching on YouTube, especially. Either alchemize the energy within self or go away. Because there's no point in being triggered and sitting down and sending that nasty energy back to the person. It's not going to help you. It's not even about helping them. It's definitely not going to help you, because here's the thing also. Here's another message that's been coming through very strongly. Many divine beings have reached the point on the journey where there is a level up now. And that level up means whenever there's a level up, there's a change in protection, just like that message was coming through, like, not up your protection, but maybe change your nighttime and morning protection, because there's a change in protection that has occurred. And what was coming through very strongly for me on Friday when I was doing the Daily Alchemy members message was that some of you are about to reach that status where they will no longer be able to cast spells against you or send you their entities, because now their entities are going to be afraid of you. They're going to beg them not to send them to you. Remember how in the Bible, how Jesus went into the temple of all places, and the demons were like begging him, please don't send us, to the pit or wherever it was, I forget now. Please don't. That's the energy some of you are about to be embodying spiritually. And as such, it's a dangerous thing to come into the field of someone embodying that energy if your intentions aren't good. They will trigger you. They will trigger you. I know this too as a divine being. I know when I'm watching someone who's divine, if I have a problem with them and I haven't gotten myself under control emotionally, I turn it off and I walk away. Because I don't want to deal with the chastening that I'm going to receive because of their protection, and I don't want to deal with the chastening I'm going to receive because I know better. So I remove myself and I go and do the work. I go and do the work. Because when you judge yourself, when you chasten yourself, the divine doesn't have to do it. Remember I said at the beginning, the higher you go up in rank, the higher your responsibility is, the quicker you will be to be chastened divinely, because there's more at stake. Because you're being entrusted with the people. You're being entrusted with a message. You're being entrusted with the unfolding of new energies. You're being entrusted with children. You're being entrusted with a divine partner. These are our birthrights, yes, but they also are things that we must learn how to value divinely. And this is what all this energy is about right now. It's about getting us all into alignment with our true value, so that we can value self and value others to the point where we protect ourselves and we protect others, and we're not throwing one another to the wolves, and we're not allowing ourselves to be used by entities and lower resonating energies because we refuse to see truth of what it is that we're being divinely shown that we need to alchemize in self. It's a whole different level of warfare, and that's why I'm telling you, the wheat and the chaff is about to be separated once again in the divine community. That's what that story is about. It's not about non-believers. Yeah. We have 2 9s. We got the 9 of Swords and we've got the 9 of Wands. The 9 of Swords and the 9 of Wands. And then we have the Ace of Swords at the bottom. So we have 2 9s here. Right? 2 9s. 9s are 9. You might have been seeing that for one thing. 9s are connected to Hermit energy. 9 is all about the end of something, right? The Ace of Swords is all about the offer for a new beginning, the offer of something new. With the swords, it's the offer of more truth. It's the offer of more power. It's the offer of more clarity. The 9s are connected to the Hermit energy, so it's all about those battles you must go through alone in order to access the Wheel of Fortune on the other side. You go through the Hermit to get to the 10, which is a Wheel of Fortune, which is like the Hermit energy is what shows how an energy is going to end. Is it going to end with the 9 of Swords energy of like the despair because the illusions have overtaken the truth? That's what the 9 of Swords energy is, and it's trapped someone in their own mind. The projections, the illusions, the spells have overcome, because here's another energy that's coming up, and I know this one very well, which is maybe why they're having me talk about this tonight, because it's serious, you know? It's serious because so many of us, so many of you deserve to move forward. And there are energies that want to come up right now to make you feel as if you're supposed to back down and to be in fear. And I know this energy very well because it's the one I succumb to over and over again. Because in the logical, it seemed like it was stupid to continue on the path. And at that point, maybe there were offers being made that seemed to make sense for my situation. But there was still a niggling within that was telling me, that doesn't seem altogether right. But the part of my brain, the logical, the matrix logic part, overtook the intuitive part and said, yeah, but this is probably smarter. This is smarter for myself and the children, right? We should do this. It seems like that would be the better choice. I can always come back to this. Wrong, 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 wrong. This is why this is coming up right now. There are energies that are coming up for people right now that are going to make you or make them feel like, oh, maybe I should just go this way and I'll come back here eventually. Or maybe I should do this now and I should abandon this. No, unless it's supporting what it is you're already building, and you can see that it's opening doors for that too, I'd be very careful right now. But mostly this energy, what it feels like more than anything is like the return to an old energy, because, and I was feeling this a little bit last week too, Mercury retrograde is here to help us. All retrograde energies are here to help us reflect. Okay, but Mercury retrograde happens 4 times a year. It happens seasonally. So every season we have the opportunity to reflect, to then decide how we're going to move forward. And this Mercury retrograde season has been rife with mental projections and fuckery designed to put people in these 9 of Swords states, to put people, to program them back into lack consciousness so that they make decisions from that place. And they think that the decision they're making is actually practical. Okay? To that extent, there also was an energy of people or energies returning in the vein of seeming like things had changed. And that also being a facade or a front. I'm just saying, be very discerning right now in these energies as we move up to the new moon in Taurus, because a lot of you are on the cusp of breaking through into something beautiful, and everything wants to come in right now to distort that reality and to put you in fear states so that you make the decision that's aligned with matrix logic instead of tuning in deeper to your intuition. This is the energy also of settling. Let me tell you something as a divine being. If you believe divinely that something is supposed to be yours, or you've been given a dream in your heart, you don't have to amend that dream in accordance with your circumstances. That dream, exactly how you've seen it, will come to pass. Don't settle because you think, oh, well, maybe if I do this, it's going to... No. I want to give you a more concrete example. So I'm on a divine counterpart journey. I have a divine counterpart. I don't know what's going on with him because I don't make it my business to know. I make myself my business. Okay, and at this point, I don't even know if he's progressed enough to come on board with me. I don't even know if I have someone else in the wings coming forward. I don't know, because the truth is that I know I'm about to step into a union. It's just, is it going to be with, have you leveled up enough to make yourself worthy of the union, or has someone else has someone else come up in that time? Because I don't buy that whole, it's one person that you know, that's binding energy if you ask me. I believe that, I'm not going to go into what I believe about twin flames and all of this other stuff, but I will say that one thing I know about the divine is that we are never limited and there's always provision. That I know. And so that's what I live by. So if somebody is not ready for you, but you're ready to move forward, there's provision. There's always provision when it comes to the divine and when you're a divine being. That I know. Okay? Last year I had an interaction with a man, and I really liked him. But more than anything, I liked him as a friend, which was really cool for me because that's not how most of my romantic relationships have begun. So it was really nice to have a friend. But then there were things about him that I was just like, he's a really nice guy, but this isn't for me. This isn't for me. And this isn't for me. But there were parts of me that started to bargain with myself. Like, well, maybe you could, make adjustments in how you feel about that. And my team stepped in and said, no. What the divine has shown you is possible for you to have in a partner is what you will get for as long as you do not settle. And so I walked away from anything other than a friendship. And eventually we went in a different direction because it was clear in any case that he wasn't equipped spiritually to engage in the warfare necessary to be with a being like me. You see, the more work you do, Your divine partner has to be your protector, and you have to be their protector too. Your divine partnerships and co-creator opportunities with other divines, you have to be in a position where you are their protectors and they protect you. And that means really understanding and overstanding warfare by knowing all of your own points where the enemy wants to attack. So I say all of that because there's an energy right now of this wanting to get people to settle. It's almost what I want. It's not exactly what I want. It's not what I thought I was going to get divinely, but it's almost what I want. So let me go with this. And you need to be careful. You need to be careful. And again, I'm not talking about people who, this is a step forward, like a stepping stone to, you're getting closer to where it is you're going. That's different. I'm talking about people walking into whole agreements, whole relationships, whole situations that are almost what I want, but not entirely. And in that is us lacking faith in believing that what it is we saw and what it is that we feel in our soul should be ours. That again is a lack energy of thinking, first of all, that it can't be ours, that maybe we're not worthy of it, or that it's not possible. Anything is possible, especially in these energies. Anything and everything is possible. So we have the Nine of Swords and we got the Nine of Wands, and we know the Nine of Wands energy is more about busting through. In the tarot, the way energies actually manifest, the Nine of Swords comes after the Nine of Wands because it's the Wands energy, the Swords energy, the Cups energy, the Pentacles. So in other words, the way the nines normally manifest is we break through to the Nine of Wands, then we go through the Nine of Swords, and then we go to the Nine of Cups, which is emotional fulfillment, until we get to the Nine of Pentacles, where that emotional fulfillment begins to become materialized in our reality. So the fact that these Nine of Cups, Nine of Wands, and Nine of Swords is on the board is showing me that there's something that wants to shift into the Nine of Cups or to the Nine of Pentacles. But it's all going to be determined with the Ace of Swords, with what thought you choose to introduce into this energy that will either align you with the Nine of Swords or will push you forward into the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles. I hope I'm making sense here. It's a very internal battle for your own truth that is happening right now in these energies. And it's feeling very potent as we come up to the new moon in Taurus. But I believe this is something that's going to continue to play itself out through Gemini season, because Gemini is connected to the 8, 9, and 10 of Swords. It's all about the dismantling of projections and illusions. That's what it is, and mental fuckery and spell work and mind control. The Gemini energy can either help you ascend out of that or you can drown in it. So there's something about that here now too. There's something about a thought here, a thought process, a belief, a tradition, something that's lurking or hiding that is actually keeping a frequency fence out when it's time for you to bust through. And what is necessary for you to bust through is like a new way for you to see something, a new way for you to think of something, a new way for you to process something. That's what the Ace of Swords is here. There's a frequency fence that's been created by your own thoughts. There's a frequency fence that's been created by mental projections and fuckery. And that frequency fence can be disabled if you embrace the Ace of Swords, like this breakthrough energy of truth that may not feel safe, but it doesn't feel safe because you've never busted into that before, and it's now time to go. Whereas the other energy that seems to have like matrix logic attached to it, it may feel more safe, because it's more practical, or really it's not more practical, it's more familiar. And this is where many of us will be being weighed right now. Like, how deep does your belief in who you are and your path and what is opening up for you, how deep does that really run? Because here's the truth about being on a divine journey. There's no cushion. There's no real security blanket. Your security blanket are your team. The tower at the bottom, they are your team. There's nothing material about the security blanket, in other words, not at this juncture. We all out here flying by the seat of our pants. Yeah, you see? At the bottom of the deck, we have the Chariot. But what actually came out is we got the Three of Wands. So we got this. We got her showing her whole ass. She's leaving with her rhino. But then we got the Devil. We got a contract. We got something trying to pull back. And whatever's trying to pull back might be greater than her resolve to move forward, because this is major arcana. So this is like the big guns being pulled out to try and to pull you back. But the reason, you have to know that the reason for this is not because you have to fear. The reason why this energy wants to come in right now so strongly and to wreak havoc on your mental reality, the reason it wants to do that is because of the Chariot. It's because you probably already have reclaimed the fullness of your energy, but you might not yet be riding with it. The Chariot is about the riding of the light body, the knowing how to use all of the bells and the whistles of who you are energetically. So you may have already gotten possession back of who you are and everything, your energy, but you're about to go and really learn how to. Remember I said like that there's this energy right now, like this is, the warfare was like, not that it wasn't the easy part, but it was just the beginning. And now the war is about to change. The energies are about to change because you're about to build, you're about to learn, you're about to set foundations, you're about to come into unions and be in divine partnerships and all of that stuff. So the ante has been upped. But at the same time, before you realize that this is what's about to happen, there's this energy that wants to come in and contract you to something. And here it is, like here too, with the Three of Wands, whatever it is this energy is wanting to contract you to, it's an energy that wants to give you the illusion that you're moving forward with your rhino too. It's an energy that wants to come in and be very tempting. Again, and make you seem like, oh, you can do this and that, like dangling the carrots. Yeah, we can. Like if you're in a job interview and you come in and you say to them, oh, I really love this job, but one thing I was noticing was that you said that I said in my resume, in my request, that I really needed to have a half day on Fridays. And you've said here that I have to work from Monday to Friday from this time. And the person is wanting to, the interviewer is wanting to sweet talk you so much, that they're like, oh, that can be fixed. Just sign. We'll get to that later on. And you go ahead and sign. And then you start work. And then you finish on your first Friday, half day. And they get on you and start docking your pay. And when you bring it up, oh, but you signed a contract. This is the energy that I'm picking up here. That dangling, and I've been picking up on it for a while, guys, because whenever you're getting ready to level up and you're moving into something higher, these energies are going to come to try and make it seem like they're giving you something sweeter. But there's always a catch. There's always a catch. And for those of you who are not dealing with like outward situations, like I said, this is mostly a mental battle. These are the little energies within self that we don't want to face up to, or that we think are harmless, you know, that we think we can move forward and that we want to overlook, you know, oh, we'll figure it out when we're in union, all that other stuff. No, now's the time to deal with it. Now, not later on, now. Because it will take you down a whole different path and trajectory with that person than you have to go down if you just do the work now. Anything else? That's too many cards. I'm not taking them all. It's like 5 cards. Is there something else you want me to see? You want me to look at the signs? So we got Gemini, connected to magic and healing and mercurial energy. We've got Sagittarius. We've got Aries, Capricorn, Cancer. Yeah, with that Capricorn energy, be careful of being so... it's that energy of the programs of the Matrix that make us think that something is safer. That's what it is safer. And I tell you this as a person who fell for this energy. And if I were to tell you the stories, you will say to me, oh, but So-La-Rah, that actually made a lot of sense. Like, I probably would have done the same. Because that's how sneaky the energy is. It makes it seem as if that is the smart thing to do. It's the logical thing to do. And you have, this is how you know, right? Is because you have misgivings about it. You have misgivings about it. This is not the energy of something that opens up for you and you're just like, oh, wow, I feel good. This feels good. You know, I feel it. There's like, this seems good. On paper, it seems good. But I have a little bit of resistance. But maybe I'm just being silly, right? Wrong. Okay, do we not have any more messages from the tarot? 8 of Cups. This is all about the walking away, right? This is all about the 8 of Cups energy is not only a walking away, it's a walking away from 8 cups that are familiar. 8 cups that might even still, you know, feel good or hold some kind of resonance or like connection or comfort, or familiarity, but choosing either way to walk forward because you know there's an Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups, there's a cup of love and healing that if you don't take that step forward, you're not going to be able to taste or to move forward to the 2 of Cups. And if you don't take that step forward into the unknown, you won't get that caliber of love that you're looking for. This really, more than anything, what I'm getting here is this energy of not settling right now. And I'm saying not settling with people, not settling with jobs, not settling with contracts, but more importantly, not settling with the toxic energies and programs and spells that still want to linger in your fields. That's what I'm getting more than anything. Where shall we go, Spirit? I want to get out of here and actually get my, go to the park with my children. So let me wrap this up. Moonology Oracle. So we have the new moon in Virgo, a time to give rather than take. And then we have nothing is yet set in stone, mutable moon. So that's mutable energy. Both of them are. Virgo is mutable too. So this is all about something in a state of there's something that is. And then we have a lot of Virgo energy here because we have the 2 nines come out also, which are Hermit energy connected. So the Virgo energy is all about the establishment of a new order in real time. And this is why we get like the routines and the schedules, because the earth energies are all to do with the establishment of the material. So the Capricorn energy, we had the first retrograde of the year through Capricorn. It's about the establishment of certain material contracts or agreements, excuse me, that will then help you to come into alignment with the material benefits of Taurus, which is then the expression of your value. And the expression of your value should be in alignment with whatever contracts you've signed yourself up for with Capricorn energy. And then the Virgo energy is about the actualization of all of that, right? And this is where schedules and fitness and health, all of this comes in order to sustain that energy, in order to grow that energy, in order to keep it flowing, really, is what it is. So we got a lot of Virgo energy here, which is telling me there's something here, because it's mutable, which means there's something that is forming. There's something that is forming. So we have, in terms of like energy, the cardinal energy, like in terms of energy manifesting and dealing with cardinal, fixed, and mutable, this is how I see it. A cardinal sign sets off an energy. The fixed sign, the Taurus, where we are, is where it begins to that energy begins to gain momentum in connection with or in response to what we're choosing to feed it or starve it, right? And then by the time the mutable comes, the foundation is being set. And the energy of a foundation being set can feel a little bit shaky because it's new, because it's different, because oftentimes it's a departure from the old, especially if it's a new energy. If it's an old energy, then it's just being, cemented all the more in, which is a little bit different. But what we're dealing with here is like new energies and the mutability of the space that we're in energetically, that I believe with all of this Virgo energy, what we're being shown is that this is going to be something we're dealing with until Virgo season. This is something we're going to be dealing with now. This is a new theme that we will be dealing with up until the next Mercury retrograde, which will be in Virgo, in which case we will be taken through how we've dealt with these energies in that interim. That's what I'm getting. So with this a time to, and we have emotions are running high, supermoon, but with this a time to give rather than take. With this a time to give rather than take energy in the new moon in Virgo, because that's when the energy is going to be occurring. It will be in the new moon in Virgo time slot. I always get with this card, like with the time to give rather than take, it's always about giving. Virgo is very connected to self. It's the last energy on the zodiac wheel of dealing with self, which is why it rules over the 6th house before we begin to move into the collective energy of Libra, which rules over the 7th house. And that's when we begin to extend the energy of self based upon the foundation we've established through Virgo. We then begin to extend it through the Libra energy, and we begin to alchemize and bring balance to our lives by way of our interactions with others in romance and friendships and partnerships. More of those intimate connections. So there's 2 messages coming through. On the one hand, this is an energy that we are all going to be learning how to, this is our new theme and education up until the next Mercury retrograde. Okay, this level of warfare where we're going to have to learn how to truly walk in our divinity and our value, and to apply that value to others, and really learn how energy is supposed to circulate when it's in balance and divine order. That's one thing, right? We're all about to learn this lesson up until Virgo season and beyond, but this is really where it's being honed in on. For another thing, this is the juncture, the checkpoint for many of you because you're about to go into partnerships. That's what the Virgo energy is too. This is why emotions are running high also. Supermoon. Because you've reached the end of something. Some of you have reached as far as you can go on this journey. Or I shouldn't say as far as you can go, but as far as you're going to go alone. Right? And whenever an energy is about to be shifted magnanimously, the way it occurs is by this saturation, like a balloon being. That's the way it occurs. And for some of you also, this is interconnected, 1717 on my clock. It's very interconnected with that message from Friday and the message that kept on coming up before about that shared energy between you and these people who've been attacking you and how it's about to be pushed all the way into their camp, right? Like a grand bubble of energy, a grand bursting of energy. And it's by the pushing of it into their camp, because you no longer are dealing with energies that aren't yours and never were yours, and you're giving back to people the stuff they need to alchemize. They need to learn their lessons. They need to they need to pay their karma. I don't really, when people say pay their, I don't really like it because it makes it seem like karma is like a negative thing. Karma is just a lesson. It's learning cause from effect. So now they have to deal with what it is that they've put out into the world, what it is they've sent to you that they should never have done. So now they have to sit down in that energy and deal with that lesson, because that's their creation, their miscreation. And we all must take responsibility for our creations and our miscreations at this juncture. So it's their responsibility, not yours. This is why I don't agree with the transmuting on anyone's behalf at this point. Unless that's something that you just want to do, I don't agree with it. Because how else do people learn the karmic lessons that help them to ascend if they don't take on the responsibility for the energies that they, of their own free will and volition, chose to grow? Right? Didn't we have to do that? Right. So emotions are running high because there's a saturation. And when this energy gets pushed back, what's going to occur is that's what's going to birth. That's what's birthing the Libra energy. That's what's birthing the gateway for the divine partnership. So maybe this is why I'm feeling this too. Maybe this is also why my guides have been coming in so strongly today with this, like being so fastidious and self-aware and taking accountability and seeing all of these things, like, because all of what it is that's going to want to come towards us at this time in order to delay or prevent the moving forward into unions and partnership, it all has to do with these sneaky energies that want to connect to the wounds that some of us don't want to own still. And this is not everyone. This is a warning for those of you who need to be a little bit more aware of how you use your energy and what you are doing energetically when you do certain things, what the message is energetically that's being sent. I don't know how else to break this down. It's like either you get it or you don't. It's not a time to be sloppy or careless with our energy and how we project it to other divine beings, or how we deal with it in the being real with self. It's not the time, because it's going to cost if we mess around and we're too lax with certain things in ourselves and in how we deal with others right now. Those are the very footholds that are wanting to establish energies like this that then cause further delay, or going into your situation is going to bring unnecessary havoc. Again, I just don't feel like this is finished. It's so funny. I have my deck down here and the card shifted. So we finished with the Eight of Cups, but it shifted slightly and it's showing me this card. It's showing me Nova, the universe. Oh, and then the Ace of Pentacles. So this is all about complete newness and being completely supported by the universe and moving forward towards your Ace or Two of Cups. Even though something might seem uncertain, it's like for as long as you don't settle, the universe has your back. Don't settle. It's not the time to settle. This is all heart and sacral. This is all emotion. And then we have quest. So this is all, this is throat. This is truth. This is truth. This is truth. What I'm seeing in this picture, there's a new journey. That's what a quest is. There's a new journey. And there are, it's almost like, look at this, like many of you are at the point of the journey where, and I would argue that we've always been at this point, but you're seeing it this way. Let's put it that way. You can't fail. You can't fail. I can't fail. You can't fail. We can take detours. We can get somewhere a longer way. We can take the more scenic route. We can learn new lessons, but we can't actually fail. Right? So here it's like there's a clear path forward. That's what I'm getting with these two pictures, where one is the background is very, clear, and the other one almost like nighttime, you could say, but there's more blue. And then you see she's like on this blue thing or bleeding blue. It depends on how you want to see it. And it's like she's almost like in a crucifix position too, which is interesting to me. But it's almost like this is a journey. So this message isn't here to put people in fear. My messages are never about fear. They're always about getting us deeper into alignment, by way of sharing of truth or by way of exposing the lie. That's really what it is. But it's just a choice point. That's where I want to leave it. There's a choice point that's coming up for many of us right now. And the choice we make is going to be based upon whether we believe in what it is we've been shown or who it is we think we are. And if we have faith in our potential, it's all going to be dependent upon that, like whether we're ready to take that leap all the way forward and let the universe catch us, or whether we're going to like retreat back or kind of waver. And we're being assisted with a lot of clearing of where grief has blocked our ability to live in passion. So I'm getting like childhood stuff here, like, because this is where most of the time it begins, is in childhood, when you're passionate about something and whether you have that backing. And this is third house energy, so, which is Gemini, and this is what we're shifting into. I think on the weekend or next week we go into Gemini season. This is what we're shifting into, third house energy. So the third house energy takes what it is that you are in terms of your own divine value, who you are divinely, and what it is you have in order to grow that value, like your gifts, your talents, your powers, your wisdom, your personality, like all of those things that are your assets, right? The third house is how, whether or not your interactions with your peers at an early age especially help you to grow those assets or for them to be depleted. And that's going to then decide later on, a lot of the time, how you conduct yourself as a person of value in the world. So it's like we're dealing with all of this now as we move from the second house energy of Taurus into the third house, because you're free. You're free to live in accordance with your passion. Your passion is what aligns you with your purpose, and it's what aligns you with your abundance, and it is what aligns you with your ability to give to the collective and to receive in return, so you can then give again, and you can have this flow of growing energy. That's the point. But for some of you, the block is going to be grief. Grief, the remembrance of when your passion was dashed, the remembrance of when your dreams were killed, the remembrance of when you didn't move forward, like the remembrance of things, right? And this is what needs to be thought of too, because the grief energy, heart chakra, is very connected to those envy and jealousy spells, by the way. Very connected, because a lot of the time, the passion energy, when someone's come into your reality and dashed your hopes and your dreams, you know, it creates a grief. But a lot of the time, what I'm noticing that they did to us as children within our family, within the schooling system, and it happened to all of us. It was just to what degree was the exploitation of that grief and the building up of others utilizing that grief. So in other words, a lot of you were made to feel inferior or less than, or like your dream was silly. And then another person, okay, it could have been a sibling or it could have been in school. That person was the same idea or energy that they were embodying. And sometimes they were even copying you. Okay, that was built up, but it wasn't okay in you. And in some ways that was, unconscious. And yet when you're dealing with, you get warfare and you get entities who have been targeting people from the beginning. It's very intentional. It's very intentional. They want to target you with these energies in order to create a narrative from the time you're a child, so that when you grow up, the narrative is set in stone. And they use people in your life who have their own woundedness and something against you because of their own woundedness to attach to them, so they can be used as a vessel to get in the way of your forward movement. This is why right now we are being scrutinized as divine beings to not become those people. If we have woundedness, we're to deal with it. If we have an issue with another divine being, we are to remove ourselves from their energy until we can figure it out within ourselves. That's how we protect ourselves. That's how we protect another divine being. That's how we protect the collective. That's how we heal these jealousy and envy spells. That it wasn't our fault that they were cast against us, but it's our responsibility now, if we're building a new world and a new earth and new energies to deal with, right? But it's a block. It's a block. When we are in that energy, we are serving as a block to another person, or our energy is wanting to block them. But really what it is, it's a block within ourselves. Like it's something that's stopping us from moving forward in our passion. And this must be addressed in all of us right now, all of those blocks. And the main energy I'm seeing it come through is those spells that were cast to make you feel inferior or less than, while another person was built up off of that grief. Because that's what created the narrative where people would compare, the narrative of feeling less than. That's where the lack energy about our own abilities and powers began. So that must be looked at, and it must be uprooted, and it must be looked at with love and with respect and with the full understanding and understanding that was a program and a spell that was sent to you directly in order to create a narrative that would grow in your life, where even if you become really successful, because I've seen it, some of the most successful people are some of the most fucking jealous. They just want everything that everyone else has because they're not satisfied with what they have, because most of the time it's not really what they want, because they just align themselves with an energy that has told them this is what it's going to get them, and it's gotten them that, and they're still miserable. And so they're still trying to take from everyone else. Some of the most miserable people I know are the ones with the most. And I've lived amongst them. I know that for, I know that for a fact. It's why I've always had an issue. I had such deep money wounds around people being rich and kind, because I grew up in an environment where everyone was just miserable and they had so much, and these people were cheating on one another, fucking around with one another, playing fucked up mind games. Like, to me, let me not go there. Let me not go there. But because of that, I had a lot in my heart against people, against myself, really prospering and doing well without feeling like some kind of, I don't know, like money corrupts people. Money doesn't corrupt people. What corrupts people is the woundedness that they then try to find ways to solve by way of accruing money or stealing money or denouncing money. It's all the same wound, different presentation of how it comes up, but same thing. It's all to do with our own value system. Whew. That's a deep. But we got to go there. We got to go there because none of this shit is going forward with us. And if those fucking energies and entities think that they can grab a hold of people's coattails and ride their way through, they're about to get a rude awakening. Because like I said to you, there's a new level up. People, or rather, well, people too, but energies that try to come into certain divine beings' fields at this point, that don't wish them well, or trying to ride on their coattails through ascension, 1733, or trying to get to the next place spiritually, but they don't want to pay homage to the value that that person has, or that they're giving to them, to them and to the world. They're not going to, this game is energetic. You can't fake your way through it. They can't fake their way through it. If the intentions aren't good, the activations don't come. That's what they told me also. They said to me also, you're getting to a point where you don't have to worry what people's intentions are, because they come into your fields to be activated, because really they just want to steal from you. They want to take your wisdom and take the information you're sharing, but they never want to replenish you in any way. But that's okay, because when they come into your fields now, because I'm an activator, when you're hearing my words, you're not just hearing my words, which is why so many of you will email me and you'll be like, oh my gosh, when I started listening to you, all of a sudden the scales started to fall and everything. It's more than the words, guys. It's the energy behind the words. I'm an activator. I speak about this, on my website. This is why I say I'm not for everyone, because sometimes I'll activate somebody so profoundly that I'll trigger them, and if they don't know how to flow with the energy, a lot of resistance will come up, and they'll either turn that in on themselves, or they will, most of the time what they do is they project it back onto me as if I'm the issue. But here's the thing, that door is about to close to those who don't actually energetically have a real sense of value for me. And this isn't just me, this is many divine beings, because the war is energetic. If your energy is coming because of what we're doing, because of what we're shifting, because of the ascension, if your energy is off and you're trying to come into my fields to try to vampirize what it is I have to share, or to get an activation, but you don't really appreciate me as a divine being, you will not get the activation energetically. You will hear the words, but you will not be activated. You won't. That's just how it works now. I think it's quite a beautiful thing, because it's like, you have to have eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart to understand. That's the energetic ability to receive. People who are trying to steal are not in receiving mode. Everything is being brought back into divine order energetically. There will be no more thieving. Even when people come into your fields and think they're getting something, they're not anymore. They won't be. In fact, if anything, they're going to be bringing energetic trouble into their fields by trying to think like they can fuck around like that. You can't anymore. And many of you are about to make this transition into that level. That's what's happening. This is why this energy is so strong. This is why. Because you're about to be in a situation where devils are going to flee when they come towards you. Where people who try to come and steal from you are going to be so triggered they're going to walk away. Or they're going to see the storm they bring upon themselves trying to fuck with you. That's what we're stepping into. because there has to be a full separation. There has to be because for so long, what's been happening is these energies have been clinging to you. This is what the warfare, clinging to you. The warfare has been about clinging to you, stealing your energy still. Nope, there's about to be a cutoff. And you try to come into a person's field and vampirize, especially a divine being in alignment, you're going to get a swift energetic slap. And the devils themselves will know this. They'll run in the opposite direction. They'll be casting spells against you, and the devil will be begging the magicians, please don't send us. We're scared of that person. They're in their anointing. They're walking in their fullness. They're in their north node. They know who they are. They know who we are. Please, we can't scare them anymore with our illusions and projections. Please don't send us there. We're afraid. Unlimited ideas. Your mind is one with God's infinite mind. Yep, this is the oneness energy. This is where the shift happens because you have come into union. Woo! This is where the infinite potential of who you actually are begins to unfold and unfurl. For as long as you get over this hurdle that wants to tell you something else, infinite, okay? You have complete access to unlimited ideas guaranteed to bring blessings. All you need to do is to take divinely guided action to allow these ideas to come to fruition. So again, this is the energy of no more limiting yourself, no more settling, no more, but if I do it this way and all that other stuff and it doesn't feel right in your soul, no more of that. It's the Eight of Cups, walking away from that which feels familiar or comfortable, leaving it and going forward because you know Mama Universe got you. She's going to throw a little bit of magic in that cup that you're going towards. It's going to be so magical. You're going to wonder, why didn't I throw away these 8 cups before? What took me so long to believe in myself? Savings. As you consistently save for your future is saved. You do your future self a big favor as you consistently set aside present funds. This is a part of your self-care and path to feeling secure as you focus upon your life purpose. So yes, okay, so this, this is the Abundance Angels deck. So this is about, saving your money, right? But what I'm getting more than anything is this is also about making investments for your future self. It's deeper than money. So the Eight of Cups, the walking towards and the walking away from that which had you bound to the old matrix personas and identities in any way, shape, or form, anything that had you bound, it's an investment. Every time you do that, every time you recognize and you overcome things that you've been in denial about within, every time you face that fear head on and you move towards it instead of away from it, you are making an investment into your future self, that because you're doing that, you're growing yourself in value and it's going to pay you back in dividends. That's what I'm getting. And this is another long ass reading. If you've stuck with me so far, you are the what's the goats? Is that what they call them? The goats? Greatest of all time, the goats? Because that was not an easy message to sit down and take. And in all frankness, it's not a message I really wanted to give. I didn't want to give it today. I tried to get around it, but my guides weren't having it. And they were stern with me. They're just like, you're not just here to give messages that you want to give, and not put yourself in a situation where you have to share truth and have people get mad at you. No, that's just part of your calling. So embrace it. So, I pushed past and I gave the message, and I thank you if you have the integrity of spirit and heart to still be here too. So anyway, I'm sending you guys all so much love. I don't ever put any of this stuff out here from a place of sitting on a pedestal looking down, because what I share with you, the reason I share it with you is because either I'm in it myself right now, I've just come through it, or I've come through it before. You get what I'm saying? So there's no judgment, because I love myself. I love all versions of myself. I love the version of myself that was a victim. I love her too. I love every version of myself, because without those versions of self, I wouldn't have come into the fullness of my son. I wouldn't be sitting here in my number 19 position, ready to move forward into the position of the world so I can really get this thing started, get the party started. I wouldn't be there without every version of self. So when I say that because I love all of you. You know, I can't despise something in someone that's in me and not despise myself. You get what I'm saying? So I say that because we're all growing, and there are times on this journey where the Spirit has to get a little bit hard on us, because the whole point of being hard on us is for our own good. It's because we're so close and there's a temptation to fall prey to something, and your guides will step in and be like, you're not going down that path again. You're not succumbing to your own bullshit. You're not succumbing to the bullshit and the programs and the spells that have been placed upon you in order to cause you to suffer and struggle in the past. We're not doing that again. So yes, that's it. For those of you who would like to order the Sacred Bathing Manual, it's still available. I will be getting the audiobook sorted out this week, at the beginning of this week. So when I do, I will let you know on the community board. All information concerning how to work with me, my services, all of that stuff is going to be on my website. That information is always in the description box below. My emails are there also if you need to contact me to book a service. I do not book services through my website because I want to know who's coming to me. And yes, thank you all. Thank you for your donations. If you'd like to donate to the channel, my PayPal is below. If you prefer to give a deck instead of a monetary donation, my wish list is also in the description box below. And I just want to thank you all for being here and just doing the work. Because whenever we do the work, we help to increase our own personal value, which helps to increase the collective value. So when you rise, I rise. When I celebrate, you celebrate. It's the same. We're one, you know? So anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you. I wish you joy, peace, abundance, harmony, clarity, every beautiful thing under the sun that is already your divine birthright. Until next time, be well.